Dude, get back to the fucking... Now what? Get out of here! All right, let's do the build video. Medium Paladin build. Let's do it quickly. Let's go over the attributes first. 250 focus, 250 constitution. The rest goes in strength. Reason is simple. Magnify sucks, and you have issues putting in the actual values that you want. But 250 is actually pretty nice. It's enough focus for us, and having that extra health makes you really tanky, and I really like it. So 250 here. When it comes to weapon mastery, let's look at that real quick. We're using Arcane Smite, Arcane Vortex, and Trip. For me personally, that's like my just dream combo of skills. I love using them. Of course, other skills are amazing too, but I just feel like for my playstyle, this is the bee's knees, basically. Arcane Smite, of course, great skill. Leaves a nice AoE on the ground with impairment, dots up people, debuffs them. You get grit on the ability, which is super nice. If someone's attacking you, that's always a good move to kind of counter an attack. We're taking all the passes, of course. This one's kind of important here, the Ironclad Superiority. Kite Shield, you definitely want to use a Kite Shield because you definitely want to have the stagger on your Arcane Smite. People are complaining about it a lot. They're like, oh, you can't dodge it. It's undodgeable. It's not. It is dodgeable. They just don't know what they're talking about. They're just bad at the game. Don't listen to them. Use a Kite Shield. And then when it comes to the Vortex is absolutely amazing. It's not as good as it was on the PTR, but still a great skill. You spin around, you hit everybody. A lot of life leech on this thing. You get empower, you get speed, you get all the good things. You cleanse a bit, debuffs and stuff like that. You cleanse crowd control effects. The whole thing is plain amazing, and I love using it. So it's just fantastic. And then Trip, one of the trolley skills. You knock people down, and then you follow up with a heavy attack that actually counts as a heavy attack. So you do the flail, and then you do an extra heavy attack that is indeed a heavy attack, and it will proc perks that proc off heavy attacks, so you could definitely use that to proc things on your flail that proc off heavy attacks. So that's pretty nice. Just a great stun all around. You can hit multiple people too. You got to aim a little bit with this thing, but you can technically, if people are close enough together, you can actually trip them all, which is super funny to see, like 5 people just fall on their ass all at the same time. I love it. And of course, one thing you should keep in mind, you inflict a rend here, right? So if you trip people, you inflict a rend. Technically what you want to do, what I'm not doing, but technically you want to hit people with the trip first, and then hit them with your smite, and then hit them with your arcane vortex, because you definitely want to put the rend on first. What I do though is I usually open up with the arcane smite because it's easier to hit. It has more range. It leaves the AoE circle on the ground, which even if you don't hit people with the actual hit, the AoE circle appearing on the ground will still put a dot on them. So I just really love Arcane Smite as an opener. It makes a lot of sense. It's a lot easier to hit people with this that are running away than any other skill, because it has a little bit extra range. And I think it's just a great opener, even though you're losing out on some damage because you're not tripping first. But in my opinion, you kind of miss the trip if you're not like staggering first and then tripping. So what I'm usually doing is I'm doing the arcane smite, then I'm doing the trip, and then I'm going to my arcane vortex. What that does is it staggers the enemy. If you follow up immediately, you should be able to hit them with the trip before the stagger's over, but you got to be fast because people get out of this pretty fast. So hit them with the smite, follow up with the trip immediately, and then you follow up with the arcane vortex. And what that does is it kind of slows them down as they're trying to get away from you. As they break out of the trip, they try to get away from you, but you're spinning and winning, and so you have a little bit of AoE. You keep hitting them, it slows them down, and you get extra movement speed here. You get extra movement speed for hitting them, and if you hit them a couple times, you build up a nice amount of movement speed, and you can just kind of follow them along. So I think this is just the best opener combo that you can do. Like I said, you stagger, then you trip, then you use the vortex, slows them down a little bit. You get the extra speed, so it's easier for you to just stick to the target. And then when all your skills are in cooldown, light attacks. You can do heavy attacks too, but I would say only do a heavy attack as like an opener when you see people fighting and you approach them from behind. Start off with a heavy attack into a smite, but your main DPS should be the light attacks. It just makes more sense. They're easier to do. The way we put up the build, you actually get rewarded for doing more light attacks because we have refreshing move and stuff. So yeah, definitely do the light attacks. That's a big part of your damage on a flail. But yeah, that's the flail perk. The flail tree. Of course, take this one here, better together. That's the important one. Looking at the life staff, so we're running Sacred Ground, we're using Orb of Protection, and we're using Splash of Light, also known as the Clap Heal. So if I was saying Clap Heal, you know, this is the Splash of Light. Of course, Sacred Ground, you know it, that's the green circle on the ground. Whatever you do in PvP, you always want to look for the green circle and you want to be in there if you want to be healed. Of course, Orb, really nice for, you know, hitting yourself or hitting others, putting a little bit of heal on. And this Clap Heal can actually heal for a lot. As you can see, that's 80% weapon damage on this one. Yeah, you remove a debuff, which is really important with this one because we're kind of leaning into the debuff removal. So every time you heal an ally, you remove a debuff from them, and I'll show you why that's important. Of course, like I said, take all the passes. We're taking Desperate Speed here. We're taking Sacred Protection, Absolved, Blissful Touch. This one's really important. Your light attack will heal people when it passes through them. You definitely want this one. This is like one of the most important ones. Revitalize, not super important. Enchanted Justice, and then over here, Bend Light. I went with this one because we're dodging a lot on this build, so getting that extra 20% healing when you're dodging is important in my opinion. And of course, if you have a buff and you constantly going to have buffs, you get 20% outgoing healing as well. So let's look at the gear real quick. So on the head, we got a light mask, the soul shroud mask. We got Freedom, Arcane, and Enchanted Ward on this one. And also I got Empowered a Thrust Ward on almost all of them, and then I have one Empowered Elemental Ward. And I'll explain in a second why that's important. But the really important part is that we have Empowered Rune Glass because we get 2% extra arcane damage for every Rune Glass that we have. So that's 10% here. And we got 4 arcane harnessing. As you can see, we got it here, we got it here, we got it here, we got it here. It's not on the Nimble coat, but you can put it on if you want. So that's like another 8% extra damage that we get on our arcane abilities. So just in case you don't know, all the flail abilities are arcane damage, and your light and heavy attacks are their strike damage. So you have these two damage types on your flail. So yeah, just so you know, we're going all in here with the damage on our armor. And this one is Simon Gray. This one is Simon Gray. You can easily craft them at the Gypsum Kiln. They're really, really good. Freedom Arcane Harnessing on this one. Yeah, Freedom Arcane Harnessing and Health on this one, and Arcane Harnessing Health and Empowering Breaker on this one. Empowering Breaker, not super important, but technically not bad. You can get up to like 20% Empower out of this one. Like if someone's blocking your let's say someone's blocking your Arcane Vortex, you basically got your full stacks almost up on this thing. Deal some extra damage, so it's not bad, honestly. You know, I don't really like it that much, but if you just look at it and if you do the math, it's actually really good. I kind of wish I had something else on it, but it is what it is. And then on the pants, we got Freedom, Arcane Harnessing, and Health. And for our jacket, we got the Nimble Code. Of course, Nimble Code, great item for anyone that wants to reduce cooldowns. The base design of this build was always cooldown reduction, and it was really, really good on the PTR. Unfortunately, they nerfed not only the Nimble Code, but they also nerfed the cooldowns on the flail. They made them a lot longer, so it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty decent. And like I said, I put freedom on this Nimble Code, but you can put on what you want. I got 4 out of 4 freedom on this build. Because, you know, like you get hit by a lot of stuns these days, so getting out of them in time is definitely very, very good. The shield is just the standard Night Veil kite shield here. Refreshing move, flame conditioning, refreshing, and then refreshing defense. So we went full refreshing on this kite shield. The flame conditioning, not super important, but I guess it can't hurt. So the extra 5% flame damage absorption probably comes in handy for any flamethrower monkey that's gonna spray you down. But yeah, that's the armor. Let's look at the weapons here. I got a syncretic flail. Thinking about like swapping this thing out. I'm not super happy with the rogue. It's not proccing as much as I wanted, but it's really hard to get a flail that's actually good that you can reforge at the kiln and actually put on what you want. So what I wanted was definitely Mending Vortex, because that is just such a good skill. It is so amazing. It just, the healing that comes out of this is just insane. You have a couple people around you, you pop this thing, you hit them, full health heal basically. So this thing is amazing. Like I said, the rogue, not a fan. Keenly Jagged, definitely something you want to have. The way we're doing it is, of course, we have Impairment, which is, you know, the debuff that we put on enemies that ticks and does damage. Then we have Keenly Jagged, which puts a bleed on people. And then we also have the Empowered Gambit on that does 8% arcane damage for 2 seconds. 3 ticks in total. And of course, since it's arcane damage and we have all that extra arcane damage, that's going to buff our empowered gem here, which just adds some extra damage. So I find this really nice. Like I said, the rogue, I might get rid of the syncretic flail and I'm going to be looking for a different one. I definitely want to keep Keenly Jagged and Mending Vortex. But then something else, I'm not sure what I want. I was even thinking about maybe, if possible, like plague crits or plague strikes, some healing reduction, because I feel like that's always like a problem. People just stay alive a little too long. They just kind of, they hold on to dear life. They're just coasting with like 5% health, and I just don't like that. So maybe that's the direction that we're gonna go, but for now this is fine. And then looking at the life staff, that's a special one. Now vicious, of course, is not great. You don't want vicious on there. Optimally you want to put probably blessed on, but this one will do. It's hard to find like a actually best in slot life staff for me personally. But yeah, Purifying Breeze and Purity of Light is really, really good because we're using the clap heal. So the Purifying Breeze, you heal for 33% extra every time you remove a debuff from allies. So the clap heal removes a debuff, right? And you heal for 3 or 33% more extra weapon damage. And then Purity of Light, allies with the debuff removed with Splash of Light, so that goes directly into the Splash of Light, they're going to be healed for another like 89% extra. So you have extra 33% and extra almost 90% on your clap heal, which is already a pretty decent heal. And it's just like it all falls into place. It's so much healing. I think like fully buffed, you also want to, of course, be in your sacred ground. You want to be below 50% health. And then this thing hits you for like 7, 8, 9k. That's a really, really strong heal. Only downside of this heal is it only heals people in your group, not in your raid, in your group. So in Outpost Rush, you're not going to heal a lot of people with this thing, but you're definitely going to heal your group if your group is with you. But you're not a healer on this build. I feel like I need to say this. You are more a solo, so the heals are primarily for you, but of course you can put them on other people too if you have the means to. But this is not a build that's like designed to heal others. It's just for you mostly. Keep that in mind. And yeah, we got the rally gem on this thing. Honestly, it's whatever. Next patch there's going to be a better one, but for now this is the best thing you could do. You're never going to benefit from this because it's only 15% extra healing while you are at full health. So you will never experience this because when you heal yourself, you will never be full health. You can only heal yourself when you're not full health. So that's never going to affect you, but it's going to affect the healing that you do to others when you're full health. And then the hard rune is the hard rune of stone form. Take whatever you want. Honestly, I'll leave that up to you. I like the stone form the most because I just like to be tanky. I like the extra healing. This build is designed to just sit in a clump of people and just like keep doing damage and healing and doing damage and healing. So optimally, you want to be right next to this build. If you're playing and you see me in your OPR or in your arena, you want to be right next to me because I'm going to be sitting in a pile of heals and a pile of damage, and that's where you want to be too. So looking at the jewelry here, we're running Ankh with stamina recovery. I think it's like probably one of the best things you can put on, but put on what you want. I like the extra stamina recovery because it's basically a full stamina bar every 30 seconds. So if you dodge and your stamina is low and someone hits you, boom, your stamina is back. So technically you can do like 4 dodge rolls when it's like really, really necessary. And it's just amazing. And Ankh itself is just a great piece. It's going to get nerfed next patch, but it's still going to be amazing. So yeah. On the ring, we got Healing Breeze, Refreshing, and Sacred. Which is, like I said, like Healing Breeze is pretty amazing. Get that extra 20% healing every second when you heal someone. So that procs off of anything, and it's honestly, it makes a big difference having that extra healing. It goes a long way. Refreshing, of course, because we need our 4 stacks because we're cooldown reduction build, and then Sacred for extra healing. Of course, Sacred 10% extra outgoing healing. We have Divine here on Ankh for 10% incoming healing, so that just synergizes really well. Looking at the earring, we're running Healthy Toast, Refreshing, and Refreshing Toast. Probably almost bis or bis, something like that, depending on what you want. But for me, I think this is pretty much best in slot. So yeah, not easy to get sometimes, but definitely worth having the Healthy Toast. Just getting that extra health from drinking a mana potion is really nice. And Refreshing Toast, of course, helps getting those potions up a little bit faster. Consumables, we're just using mana potion. You can use whatever mana potion you want. You don't have to use a tier 5. Use the cheapest ones that you can find. It doesn't matter. You definitely want to use a tier 5 infused health potion. Definitely want to use tier 5 infused regen potions. If you have them, and if you can afford them. Do I have them? Probably have them over here. Yeah. You can use one of these serums here. They're good, but they're expensive. So I would recommend not using them if you don't actually really need them. Use the normal regen potions for just normal fights. And when things get really tough, you pop one of those. Otherwise, I would recommend not using them. Anyway, these are the items. And that's basically it, right? We looked at our weapon loadout here. We looked at our attributes. We looked at our gear. One thing I want to show you is I made this build on newworldbuddy.de, which I just learned about today, and I put this build up. So if you want to get a nice little overview over this build, I'll leave you with a link so you can check that out. It's a pretty nice website. You could just list all your items that you have. You basically just like put your whole build in here, and it's a nice overview over everything. You also see your all the little bonuses that you have here. You see you can click on all these little damage icons here, and it shows you exactly what's going on with your buffs and debuffs and stuff. So really nice. So I'll leave that for you guys so you can take a look at this. Yeah, that's the build. Really, really nice. Let me tell you again. This is supposed to be a clump fighter, basically frontline bruiser, clump fighter. You can be a healer with this if you just want to heal people and not getting involved. You can do that with this build too, especially if all the people that you need to heal are in your group. You're a pretty good healer because you have very strong heals. And your clap heal has a 100-meter range, so you can really hit people that are quite far away from you, and you're still gonna hit them and do good amounts of damage. But yeah, overall, more of a bruiser play style. Keep that in mind. But I love this build. I think it's one of the best builds I've ever played, if not the best build. Absolutely enjoying it. It feels great to me, and yeah, I'm just glad we finally get to play a flail build on the live server, because I was playing a lot of flail on the PTR and I just couldn't wait for it to come out. And now that it's live, I love it. And just playing this Paladin playstyle is something I want to do for a long time. So there you go, guys. I hope you liked it. Try it out. It's nice. I know the build's not cheap. There's a lot of things on this build that will cost you a little bit of money. Crafting gear will cost you a little bit of money. Making those rune glasses is going to cost you a little bit of money. Syncretic flail and putting your custom perk on. It's expensive. I'm not happy with how expensive it is to put builds together right now. But outside of that, absolutely amazing. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and you leave a comment. And also check me out on Twitch while you're at it. And that's it, guys. I'll be back with a new video pretty soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.